Okay, welcome back everyone to the 387th Knowledge Seekers Workshop here on Thursday, July 1st, 2021. Mr. Keshe, are you ready to begin the second part of our workshop here today? Take some questions.
Yes, ready, willing, and able.
Okay, I thought we could start with the Q&A. I see we do have a hand up with Ruthie in the panelists, but there is a question that's relevant to your teaching today, and from Liko in the Q&A, who says, I would like to thank you, Mr. Keshe and Rick, for giving the gift of plasma to the world. It has changed my life for the better. My question is, what is the name of the amino acids formed in a GAN's capture kit? He goes on to say, David Wilcox says the 20 base amino acids can be mapped out on a dodecahedron, if I pronounced that wrong. And I wanted to see what the name of the amino acids formed is so I can find them on that map. It's a geometric universe. So he's asking, what is the name of the amino acids formed in a GAN's capture kit?
The amino acid you create on your capture kit depends on the material used, the way you choose your material, the salinity, the space cap, and the environment which you created. And these are fundamentally change every amino acid which you create. That's why not two amino acids are the same. You create an amino acid in a CO2 box, which is connected to the carbon and the oxygen, has a specific characteristics for its work. In the what you call CH3, you create an amino acid which is connected with the carbon and hydrogen. Then how you space it, how you connect it, how you choose your salinity, and combination of salinities creates totally different amino acid. Then you have the zinc and many other combinations for creation of gases. And then when you create a combination pot, then again has a different operation and characteristics. So you cannot say what kind of amino acid unless you have the whole lot of it on the plate. When you talk about what you talk, is the amino acid which is created across interaction of all the elements within the body of the man. It's like in homeopathy, they tell you there are 12 different salts. But if you combine these 12 different salts in different way, there are millions of different combinations. As I said many times, if you take 7 numbers in a 49 case lottery, possibility of getting the next number is 14 million. That's why sometimes lotto is won by 2 or 3 people. If a lottery is for 100 million and you can bet on every combination possible of 14 million, you guarantee that nobody else gets it, you win 86 million, and you can confirm which combination to be. It's the same with the body of the man. Not only you have the amino acid, then you have the combination of the salts and salinity. So it's not an easy job. Then you can decide yourself in what you want and how you want it. One of the biggest problems in the world of science of today is the doctors do not look at the salinity of the organs of the body of the man. Then they can solve a lot of problems. some organizations have looked at what we call the salinity of the skin, and they're very successful. And they became so successful that they've been taken over and they've been silent more or less in that department. A company called Santos. They broke through a team in the knowledge of understanding the salinity and the skin irritation and skin effects. And they became very successful in late 1990s, early 2000s. And immediately, as they were more or less curing everything and the doctors were not getting repetition, the doors of operation was shut down. They still operate, but anything they put out as a skincare works directly with the salinity, different salinity for different part of the body, and different skin and different textures. They became too good at it. But this technology has not been carried out by other organizations in finding out the salinity in different cells of the body of the man. You can change a cancer by changing salinity. You can change a cancer by changing pH. That pH is a salinity, but you have to find the right combination. And then the problem with it is not just so easy, because now you have to find the emotion behind that cancer. Because the soul of emotion has a lot of say how that salinity used and what will be the outcome. You have the salt, you have the plates. If you just connect the plates, you get the different combination of the gas. If you connect your plates to a small battery, you get different production, different gases, even it looks the same. And if you connect it to the high voltage, the right voltage, you just produce gases. At the bottom, they become so much that becomes solid, becomes cancer. Depends what energy you put from the soul of the man in that position of the salinity. And the world of science have not understood this yet. If the man says you give him 20, I tell you there's 20 billion trillions of them. It's not so easy. Any other questions?
Yeah, I think we should hear from Ruthie now.
Hello, Mr. Keshe. Hello, everyone. It's beautiful teaching. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And now we understand, because I think before we say we are the creator, but we don't know how we create a world. But today you do said that how we create the world. So it's the same with what I had learned, but I don't understand at that time. It said like the whole world is being created just by thought. So I think how it could be, but now, yes, if you explain in this way, now I understand it is created by our soul. Yeah, that's so great to really understand that. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Any other question?
Okay, we have a couple of hands up from Salamia and Jose. So I guess Salamia, go first. Can you find your microphone, Salamia?
Yes, I found it. Yes, thank you.
Okay, good.
I have two questions. Hello, everybody. Hello, Rick, Mr. Keshe. Much love to you. What are the differences between PEMETIX, PEMEFE, and MAFS? And thanks you for your lovely teaching of today. It's a birthday of my mother, and I dedicate a poem to my mother, Mitra, and my mother. I sent it already to you, and thanks to you. And second question is related to RNA and DNA, if they are immortal, and if the soul of the emotion of plasma of emotion is a memory of the man, and if this carry our memories and all what can elevate our soul in order to create a new cycle of creation, as planets, as galaxy, sun, and so on. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. For your first question, please read the book, number 1. It's all well explained in the plasmatic magnetic fields and the specific plasmatic magnetic fields. For your question number 2, it's the reality that in the body of the man, we see the reaction of the interaction of the field in physical response as electric current in the dimension of what we call physicality. The emotion which is created in the dimension of plasmatic field is what is shared and given or taken from the soul of the man or the soul of physicality to be added to that it makes the impression or to be taken away from. In a way, DNA is the connection of the transformation of the plasmatic field's information to the physical body of the man within the cell structure of the brain of the man, where the RNA is the field, it's like the gravity, but the brain is the mass of the earth. Is a magnetic, depends what it takes and what it gives and what converts, and what it gives, or we add to the dimension of the soul of the man, or we take from the soul of the man. In so many ways, we have to understand what is the link to the dimension of physicality, confirmation and transformation of the energy and emotion. And the other one is a connection to the soul. And they all carry the same information as a base and what is added or changed. It's very simple, but the two, even though are connected, they are intermediary between the dimension of the plasma and the physicality, and the other one is a connection between the fields of the plasma between the two souls, and in a way keeping up to date and in line with what is needed to be to manifest the physicality. Any other question?
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Keshe.
Thank you.
Okay, perhaps we can hear from Jose now. Hello, Jose. Can you unmute your microphone, or did you deliberately put your hand up? Might be a first question. Okay, I'm asking to unmute, but it's not working, so we may have to temporarily pass on that one. Okay, we'll go back to the Q&A here. From Antonio, it says, "Dear Mr. Keshe, with heart problems, will this plasma technology regenerate a new heart or create a separate heart?"
It can do a combination. If you take it out and it can hold on the operation of the field of the body of the man, in time it will create the heart. And if you want to repair a heart, you can do it easier by that too. If you get a bullet shot through the heart and explode it to pieces, repair is impossible. It is better to take it out and let the physicality of the man in conjunction with its inertial gravitational field of the position and interaction of the field of the soul of emotion to build a new heart. Take a little bit longer, but it works. The scientists are on this track. There's a lot of work is going on this, but they don't understand. They need to move in a mold of plasma and a magnetic field to be able to solve the dilemmas of present time in heart operations. Any other question?
You have a question from Ram in the YouTube, who is asking, will the perfect man have eternal life on earth and the universe?
I can answer it in two ways. The easiest way is, what do you think? And secondly is, eternal in the essence of the Creator, as we are all part of it, it is eternal. But would it be that individual soul that'll have eternal life? No soul has eternal life except the soul of the Creator, which has created the totality. So don't expect much. You got to realize, as I said many times, 1,000 years life of the man is a flick of a finger in the life of the universe. How long do you think you can get that flick going? And how many times? The only problem is, what's the greed of the man who wants to live so long and be ever there to see what to do? He gets bored. The universe has the same habits and things are moving in the same direction and dimension. You go from one universe to another, you see it's slightly different. You want to be a soul sightseer, then plan it from day one. There's a very big question for a lot of you. If you find the answer to it, you might find the key to life. If you're asking to have eternal life, knowing that the Creator put so much out to create all the universes, do you think His life is eternal? And if it is, where does it come from? Any other question?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Keshe. In the Q&A from Ed, we have three. He says, I have three questions. One, you indicated we need to be perfect physically and in soul when we leave this earth because others will be able to see our weakness. Does this imply they would take advantage? You have before expressed that the universe is a peaceful place.
Can you repeat that again?
Okay. Try to get the rhythm here. You indicated we need to be perfect physically and in soul when we leave this earth because others will be able to see our weaknesses. Does this imply that they would take advantage of us? You have expressed that the universe is a peaceful place.
Nobody will take advantage of you. That's the biggest worry of the man. Man is always worried that they're taking something from him or he's losing to somebody because they know. But he doesn't understand that it's him who's stealing from himself. Nobody needs to steal from the man. Is the biggest stealer from himself. If people of the universe were going to use man's shortcoming and his stupidity to steal from it, they would have done it millions of years ago. They didn't have to wait till now. And those who keep on talking, the aliens going to do this, boys, they've been here long before you lot. They haven't taken anything, they won't take it. You know, when you go on a biology trip, they take you to rivers and beaches or whatever, or what they call a field work. You cannot touch anything, take anything. You're just there to observe and put it back where you took it from. Be it the shell, be it the stone, be it the fish. It's the same principle in the universe. We don't collect souvenirs and we don't interfere. And if you were going to use the man as what we call weakness in knowledge and stupidity, it would have been done a long time ago. They didn't wait for you now that you understand the level. They would have stolen from the caveman. We need tissue papers or handkerchief.
Ed's third question is the main focus of our development truly emotional in nature? And Fried has a question, where do our thoughts come from? How do they create our reality? Meaning what we accept as truth. So he just, what then is the connection to emotions?
Everything to do with it. What was the first question?
Is the main focus of our development truly emotional in nature?
More or less. In a way, partially, yes. And what was the second question?
About the where do our thoughts come from? How do they create our reality? Meaning what we accept as truth. So what then is the connection to emotions?
It's partially from the interaction of the fields and conversion of the emotion to physical. In the world of medicine, we have a part where we call a motoric, that how we use our fingers into what precision, and we see babies building it up if they crack or something. But there's the same sense of, if you call it motoric, I'll call it solic, which means the interaction of the souls. What gives you how fine-tuned you can work with yourself. And this cannot be taught. This is something we are born with and we inherited with us from at the point of birth.
Mr. Keshe, we have Barbu who's volunteering to promote the Bucharest conference, since Marius is not here right now.
I think Marius was hoping to be on the TV channel, which is not there. Yes, please let him speak, please.
Go ahead, Barbu.
Thank you, Rick. Hello, Mr. Keshe. Hello, everyone. I am one of the organizers of the big conference in Bucharest. We announce
Okay, just a second here. LeakOS, is plasma a conscious entity?
Yes, because it positions itself, it interacts itself. Conscious is feel the strength of it, that it positions itself according to its environmental fields. This is how life in any position in the universe starts. When plasmas try to accommodate each other and the environment creates that condition of accommodation. You have an oxygen and a carbon and a nitrogen, and now you have the what we call oxygen as a gravitational, which creates the condition of holding two other three together with the environmental condition, which is the water itself, which is another link between the water and what we call amino acid. And then it's a sense of accommodating and balancing. And this is the part of the structure. It's fully conscious. In a way, it's not conscious, but as it accommodates, it has to position itself. We call it consciousness, but we call it in world of physics, magna position. And when environment dictates, you have to be born in a water condition with such a salinity, with such a combination of so many of the amino acids, then of course it's consciousness.
So what would be the difference between, say, a magnet that's maintains its position with another magnet and the type of positioning that you're talking about with the plasmatic fields as a conscious entity? Or would you consider the magnets as conscious entities, or
in a way they are, but they have a mass related inertial connection according to the planetary field interaction. In the body of the man is different. It's a plasma mass, what we call inertia, which is a loose combination of the fields interaction with inertia of the soul of the man, with inertia of the soul of the physicality of the man. Then the body is created. It's very important for us, we keep on repeating this over years. The body of the man is a closed galaxy. It's a self-contained vacuum system with its own vacuum condition and its own what we call cycle. Doesn't matter, you put a knife in it, you open it, whatever you do with it, but still immediately creates that space gap vacuum condition. So the body of the man is another what we call planet on this planet. The inertia of the earth has limited say in its structure because it's inside itself, it does what it likes. You don't see if the inertia is spread too much, part of your liver jumping out or part of your kidney jumping out. So this is what we have to have in mind and understand. It's a self-contained operating system, and with it has its own self-contained emotional system. And when all of it decides emotion to be what, man reacts, laughs, cries, runs, or what.
Well, you've mentioned even the stone has a soul. So we could think of a magnet as a stone, basically. It's what it is. It's ground up earth and certain elements. So it would have its own realm where its soul operates, you could say. But that's different than the consciousness of the human connection, between the human soul and the soul of the man, or the soul of physicality and the soul of the man. That emotional connection is the part of what makes a conscious entity.
Anything you mention has a magnetic field strength: conscious, rootlessness, joy, happiness. You just need to find that strength. Then you can make a man always happy. Why do you see, when I see a certain flower, it makes me happy? Because that flower has a preset mind and magnetic field strength which matches my happiness dimension. So I see anywhere this flower, I'm happy. It makes me joyful. Or could be another human being, could be an animal, could be anything.
Okay, Antonio says in the chat, my heart needs repairing, but according to you, the emotional factor needs to be addressed.
Yes, we can repair the tire, but you haven't fixed the brake. We can keep on repairing the door and the handle, you crash against the wall here and there, but you forgot to change the brake. That brake is an emotion. Fix it. You find out many of these problems will go. You can do certain things with it. There are certain ways you can handle it. We know how to do certain things, but we don't go public with it, as I mentioned even in the teaching of Jalal last night. It was very interesting. I went to Jalal's teaching to be a student. He escaped to sleep. Then he left me there. Next time I won't go to his classes.
It's a secret technique. He does that in the plasma group sometimes too. He goes in and launches something off and then disappears.
Yeah,
that's why we call him Jump In Jalal. He jumps in and delivers something and jumps out again.
They put in every channel that this Jalal's teaching, so I went in, and then as long as nobody knew, it was okay. And then when he found out, he disappeared. He went. I was left there. I went to become a student, a knowledge seeker. He teaches very nice, actually. I was there for a couple of hours in his teaching, I think, or whatever it was. And when he realized a couple of questions, he left. So we have to come in anonymous. Nobody knows who we are. But it was a nice teaching. It was the first time I went to one of his teaching. It's very, very, very down to earth.
Yeah, a lot of people enjoy Jalal's teachings for sure.
Yeah.
So Barbu wants to remind people that the email address for the ticket information for the Romanian conference is contact@keshromania.ro. So contact@Keshe, that's the @ keshromania.ro. Pretty simple. People can remember that. I'll put it in the other chats as well, so we have it available. And Antonio asks, Mr. Keshe, with the plasma cups, if you have one pressure and one sweet cup, is it important to drink them at separate times? Can they be drunk one after
Yes.
the other.
Yes. And you have to drink only 30 ml. Very important. We know people who are drinking cups of it and then they go haywire with it. 30 ml each time is the maximum amount you can drink. The cups are there for inhaling and body use. Only. It's and dosages for these things has to be a small dosages. We will introduce new technologies once things move on the television channel, where we'll introduce new methods of use of gases. It's been tested, experimented, and the results are very, very encouraging.
Okay, we have
There is
sorry.
where there is something I have to explain. The air enhancement units are finally, after a lot of modification for maximum test results, shipped out sometime this week, maybe today, tomorrow, some, and in the next week for sure. When you receive it, you receive a white disk with it. Make sure you put the white disk facing the unit wherever you put it. The nozzle of the airflow has to face the disk which you are given, that it creates a current flow. And this is one of the reasons we delayed, because the air enhancement units were to be used for the purpose of enhancing the air. But we have found out with adding this unit to it, increases the work and enhancing the air condition for negative oxygen levels in a very high level, especially in the mornings. And so when you receive this new enhancement unit, now that what we call second part has been completed, it will what we call create a beautiful condition. All the ones which are sold, and more is coming through, which is orders have come in, will be start shipping, because we had to do this. So we originally foresaw 2 units facing each other, but this was a more practical way. And once you receive them, you will see the change, you feel the change. And so you will see those. And the same is with the glasses to start leaving this week, because we had to go through all the what we call rigmarole of getting these things finally moved, tested and whatever. And please, with your glasses, there is a report sheet. Please fill it in, send it back as is. These are put out as a kit test for you to be the volunteers to use it, and it'll be interesting to see the outcome, as we've seen with the cups. With the cups, people start drinking cups and cups of it, and they had a interesting outcome from it, some people, but the maximum body color usage is 30 ml. Any other question?
We have a question that's come up before. I don't know if we want to get into it right now, but I'll pose it anyway here from Geraldo Ramirez from Madrid, Spain, a student of the foundation. He says the latest research in nanotechnology materials, and specifically so-called graphene, one of these investigations is the so-called reduced graphene oxide, which in conjunction with hydrogen in a biological organism becomes magnetic. So he goes on to say, as all research will have its positive but also negative applications, my question is, does the foundation with the wonderful science of plasma have some plasma configuration that defends humanity from this danger? Thank you so much. Have you heard much or know anything about this reduced graphene oxide, Mr. Keshe?
No.
I think people are referring to that in terms of the vaccines and so on, that people are worried that it's in the vaccines and it gets in the body and becomes magnetic. And then we have all these videos showing up with people sticking things to their body, which videos like that, note that have showed up before even COVID and that before vaccines, that there's people that have gone around and
maybe you have too high a content of iron in your body.
Well, the debunkers found out they have something sticky on their body that they put on that allowed the things to stick to them that looked like it was magnetic. So I'm not sure how much of that is true and how much of it isn't.
Yeah, I think we better keep away from this.
Probably.
Situation.
Yeah, it's bordering on the medical misinformation area of YouTube.
Yeah, there's a new, what I call the top is called a Delta version of the, what's it, the new name has come out with the Corona. Now they finished with the countries, now they started with alphabet.
Yeah, that's
so
right.
They're supposed to be more dangerous than other. I think in time, if we learn and follow the process of the Keshe Foundation work, we'll see a lot of understanding that doesn't matter what it is, the understanding of the technology should help you with any kind of virus in any position in the universe. Depends if you want to be the orange or you want to be the cup of water. Or if you are the orange or you're the cup. The vastness of the, what I call, varieties of what we call viruses is so huge in the space that when I listen to these things, it just makes me laugh. But at the moment, they're riding on the ignorance of people. You heard about the new joke. They said, do you know why Bill Gates is split? They said because Billy didn't accept the second shot. Do you understand? Rick, are you there?
I'm not sure if I quite got that or not.
It was good as long as his wife had a second shot.
Oh, I see.
He wouldn't accept the second shot. So
Uh-huh.
there must be something in it.
Mm-hmm. Right, exactly.
Okay, any other question?
Liko had asked, how do you use the dried GANs you sell in the Keshe store?
You look at it, it's dry, it looks very nice. But why did you buy it for? What purpose? We've seen the Romanians are adding it to paints and they're showing how to use it for a paintbrush, I've seen. You can use it in all sorts of conditions. The only thing is you cannot eat it. and the what do you call, what combination of it, for what purpose you want to mix to create what. You have to understand your purpose why you're buying it. You want to use it as a field diffuser, you want to use it as a paint diffuser, you want to use it as a part of the cups structure. You can use a dry GANs the same as you use a wet GANs if you want to use its water. But with the dry GANs, you hardly lose any. But with the wet GANs, the GANs is not in the water, you have more dynamism, so the energy losses are much higher to the environment. We dry GANs for specific cases when Keshe Foundation carries hundreds of kilos of it. In our new plants, we deliberately go for drying gases for uses which we want to use for.
Mr. Keshe, we have a question in the YouTube. Maybe you can help with. There's a person, Carl, who's had an experience where he cut himself deeply, and he lost consciousness, and he woke up with his pineal gland burning and hurting. Since then, he feels differently. His feelings have changed, his body also, and the doctors don't know what to do because they don't have anything listed in their books about medication for such an event, basically. And he says, I thought I was dead when I woke up. I remember I'd lost a lot of blood, and they didn't give me any medication. They didn't know what it could be, and so on. So he's wondering if there's any solution to this uneasiness he's been feeling since. He doesn't feel like he's really in his body. So it's as if he didn't quite fully come back to the body or something. That's my interpretation. I'm wondering if you, aside from, I'm not asking for a medical evaluation, but just from a spiritual point of view, do you think there's something that you could say?
In a way, from soul point of view, you can do something. Mankind has to do this in space. When you cut an arm, or lose an arm, or any configuration of arms you might have, or legs you might have at a given point, it will most probably affect your emotion as much as physics. It is within our structure of our DNA from time of birth to regenerate new organs, new parts. But we have decided to ignore it, and part of it is done through emotion. As we explained, the emotion of the brain in interaction of the fields of the physical soul and the soul of the man creates a field that, in interaction with the inertia of the mass of the, what we call the body of the man, leads to creation of cells in that position. But there are ways to do it. And there are specific ways that you can do. Be the gland you can repair, be the organ you can repair, being a cut you can repair.
Well, many people are concerned about their pineal gland calcifying and that kind of thing. Is there any general advice for maintenance of the pineal gland or other glands in the brain area?
We see a lot of these at the moment on the internet. We prefer not to get involved in this discussion, because according to latest studies, which is published, I heard about the past couple of days, is that they have found the effects of these injections in every organ of the man. It's not just pineal gland. In every organ, they have found the traces of the vaccinization.
Yeah, a lot of the people with the pineal gland, it's not necessarily related to vaccines directly. It could be other aspects of life, food, different things. Yeah.
As I said, we are not going to get penalized for pineal questions.
Okay.
But now we have structured the Keshe TV. Hopefully soon we'll release the press releases for the news section and other part. We'll be able to openly discuss this as a television channel. And we have set our structure to be that way. And we will structure to have open discussions. People can discuss. And it'll bring a different dimensions to all the structure we set up. Many knowledge seekers in the background are working to create these conditions for the interviews and bringing scientists to do it. Then we can officially explain things to what we do, how we do it. But the moment we're in the hand of these organizations, which, as they say, silence is a wisdom. Any other question? Any other questions?
We did have a question from Antonio, who asked, for agriculture, can the dry GANs be used in containers near pipelines, the water pipelines apparently?
Yes. No reason why not.
Okay. Akbar says, please tell us about that tablet. Not sure which tablet he means, but is there a tablet that you mentioned, Mr. Keshe?
I don't know. Maybe they're after the tablet of youth. Not for sale yet.
Okay, and I think you've pretty much covered the questions here, Mr. Keshe.
Right. Thank you very much for today. I hope we learned a little bit more and in a much deeper way that it can help us to move on and expand the knowledge. And hopefully, as we said, we'll see you soon in conferences, or as the whole thing is going back to normality in the exhibition centers and different factories of the Keshe Foundation around the world. Thank you very much, Rick. Thank you very much, the whole team in the background. And maybe next week or the week after, we go back to live on television once this problem internally in Austria is sorted with the problem with communication. Thank you very much and goodbye.
Okay, thank you once again, Mr. Keshe, for a wonderful teaching here today. And thank you everyone for attending today's 387th Knowledge Seekers Workshop.
Nadszedł czas zmiany, przejścia do prawdziwego działania wszechświata. I nadszedł czas, aby zrozumieć, że używamy stanu materii, by osiągnąć poziom zrozumienia duszy człowieka. Teraz rozumiesz, być może, dlaczego Kreator wysłał swoich posłańców w imię tego, co miałeś. To oni przynoszą uszy, aby można było ich użyć, gdy nadejdzie czas Mesjasza. Mogę nauczyć duszę i przesłanie. Nie by się przeciwstawiać, ale poprzez ich zrozumienie, przez tych, którzy stali się Mesjaszami, aby dawać ze swoich dusz, aby ich elewować. Zadanie stało się łatwe. Szkoła jest tutaj i uczniowie są tutaj w oddaniu. Wtedy nie będzie żadnej walki między tym, co nazywają muzułmanami, a chrześcijanami. Baranek i lew będą jeść i spać w tym samym gnieździe. Chrześcijanie i muzułmanie będą spać i modlić się w meczecie, w tym samym kościele, w imię ich dusz, nie w imię religii, które są używane do tworzenia tak wielu konfliktów, dla korzyści tych, którzy byli hiperaktywnymi dziećmi. Nadszedł czas, czas zmian jest tutaj. I jak powiedziałem, moje życzenie jest moim rozkazem. Jeśli pragniesz ujrzeć pokój, droga pokoju jest wyłożona bardzo wyraźnie. To dusza świadomości zbiorowej. Poprzez dawanie stworzy tą pozycję zmiany. Nic innego. W duszy człowieka nie ma długopisu. Jestem pewien, że po wejściu do społeczności uniwersalnej nigdy nie zobaczysz niczego zapisanego, ale równowagę pól duszy egzystencji. Staraj się być na tyle pokornym, aby nie stać się aroganckim w mocy, którą zrozumiałeś i posiadłeś. Inaczej wpadniesz w tą samą ścieżkę kościoła i meczetu. To jest to, co obiecaliśmy i to właśnie dostarczyliśmy. Musimy zrozumieć działanie duszy i musimy zrozumieć, że dusza człowieka jest gwiazdą w kosmosie wszechświata. Jeśli porównamy duszę człowieka i tak wielu nas, 7 miliardów w jednym zbiorze, Ziemia jest jak galaktyka z tak wieloma gwiazdami. Kiedy patrzymy w głąb wszechświata, widzimy galaktyki z setkami milionów gwiazd. Podobnie jest z planetą Ziemią. Niesie 7 miliardów pięknych gwiazd, które są duszą człowieka. Niesie z sobą duszę tak wielu trylionów zwierząt, roślin i wszystkiego innego. Jeśli więc patrzą ci, którzy nie widzą fizyczności Ziemi i jej zawartości, co widzą? Widzą galaktykę z wielką ilością pięknych, świecących świateł. Każda według swojej siły. Każda zgodnie ze swoją pozycją. Niemowlę ma piękną duszę, podobnie jak staruszek. Dla tych niefizycznych, którzy nie widzą fizycznego wymiaru tej planety, ale widzą siłę pola, jesteśmy gromadami gwiazd. Ludzka rasa, każda pojedyncza dusza, nikt z daleka nie widzi. To jest dusza rybaka, to jest dusza kosmologa, to jest dusza prezydenta. Wszystkie świecą bez względu na fizyczność. To jest magia. Oto co nowa nauka musi przynieść człowiekowi. Kiedy patrzymy przez naszą duszę, widzimy tylko gwiazdy w innych duszach. I to jest przełom. To jest zrozumienie. Na tym właśnie polegają te wszystkie nauki. Dojście do dojrzałości następnego poziomu, aby zrozumieć daleki kosmos. Wszechświat jest ostrygą dla tych dusz, które służą. Wtedy człowiek jest gotowy do wejścia w kosmos. Wtedy człowiek jest gotowy, aby stać się częścią uniwersalnej społeczności, która została obiecana. Nigdy nie obiecywałem wam nieba. Zawsze obiecywałem wam elewację człowieka, aby przyłączył się do rodziny. A teraz macie klucz. To wy musicie otworzyć drzwi, aby zrozumieć, że mogę elewować duszę tych ludzi lub milionów innych dusz, że fizyczne życie na tej planecie zmieni się. Wtedy jestem godny bycia częścią społeczności uniwersalnej, by być, aby służyć, aby się rozwijać, by być tam, aby być częścią, że w cyklu życia wszechświata staje się w byciu częścią, staje się częścią totalności. Kiedy człowiek osiągnie ten punkt, pojawi się nowy wymiar w sile duszy człowieka, który jest poza wyobrażeniem zrozumienia życia fizycznego. To jest brama do otwarcia nowego życia w nowym wymiarze, co jest poza wyobrażeniem tego, co mogliście nazwać nowym początkiem, nowym cyklem, gdzie ten cykl niesie ze sobą źródło stworzenia życia we wszechświecie i unikosie. To jest elewacja duszy, aby służyć. Stała się kluczem. Nie tron życia fizycznego. Czas jest odpowiedni, nadszedł czas, aby człowiek przeszedł przez ten proces.